In this lesson, we're going to learn how to set up a new Revit project, how to set up the levels, how to start the drawing, how to create walls. So the first thing you do is you go to File, and then you go to New Project, and then you select which template you want to use. You can use the architectural template if you're an architect, structural template, imperial if you're using feet and inches, metric if you're using meters. We're going to use the imperial construction template for this project that we're doing. And we say, okay. So in Revit, you have to set up your levels, because in Revit, you are doing both the plan and elevation and everything at the same time. So the first thing we're going to do is set up the grid for our drawing that we will do. So I'm going to set up tech, go to the grid. So you go to architecture, and then you go to grid, and you draw the first grid line. And then I'm going to draw the next grid line. And I'm going to draw the next grid line. One thing to understand about the grids is that you can make the grid to start from this side or this side. If you click here and you uncheck this and you uncheck this, then the grid line starts from here. So the same thing, if you uncheck this and you check this, then the grid line starts from there. So the same thing. And Revit is very easy because you can easily adjust your distances. So this is, if this is not the correct distance, so I'm going to come in here, and probably if I want my grid to be 10 feet, I'm going to change this and make this 10 feet, and this there. And then the next one, I'm also going to come here and say, okay, if I want it to be 12 feet. So it's very easy to adjust the distances that we are using in Revit. So I'm going to draw another one, and I will uncheck this because I want my grid to start from this side. So I'm going to uncheck this and check this. And this is 12 feet, so I'm going to leave it. So after you have done your vertical grid, you can go ahead and do, and then you can go inside and change what is written in the grid. So let me close the main region. So we have this as 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to leave that as 1, 2, 3, 4. But on the vertical one, I'm going to change it to ABC. So I'm going to come here and put the grid, and I can have my vertical grid. One, have another one, 2, and have another one, 3. So the same thing that we did in the horizontal grid. So you can select the grid, you can uncheck this, and you can make it start from here. So depending on how you want your grid to be, you can, it's very easy to set up your grid, and it's very easy to set up your distances in Revit. So this is 20 feet. If I want it to be 15, I'm going to come here and make this, instead of 20, make it to be 15. And instead of 29, make it to be 15 feet. You can change it to whatever distance you want it to be, but I'm just showing you how easy it is to change. And then I'm going to change the grid and make the one on this side to be a okay. So we have set up our grid. And then if we want to have columns in the drawing, assuming there are columns. So you can put columns at the intersection. So you come to architecture, column, and you have, when you look down here, you will see the properties of any item that you're putting is down here. So ask which type of column, and you, okay, let's go to architecture, and then we'll go to column. So there are different types of columns: structural, architectural column. So we are putting in architectural column, and then you come here, and this is where you select, is it 18 inch by 18 inch, 18 by 24, 24 by 24. This is where you select the size of your column. And another thing that you need to know is sometimes you don't see clearly. So if you come here, let me zoom in closer. And so we can see the column now. So another thing that we need to know about this column is from which level it's going. So you see here, base level is level 1, top level is level 2. If we want to go to level 3, you click here and take it up to, because we haven't set up our levels, so we'll set up our levels, but I'm gonna take it up to roof at this point in time. And then region. So if you want, if you have other columns, you can just copy the one that you have. So I'm going to copy this one, and you see, the commands are basically the same, almost the same as in AutoCAD. So it's easy to go in and copy. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it all the places where you have columns. Yeah. And the good thing is you can do multiple copying. So you can just copy once and you can go around and paste it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pasting it in all the areas where there are columns. Okay. So once this is done, you want to set up your level. So I'm going to come to the elevation. You go to the elevation view. That is the good thing about Revit. As you're drawing the plan, you're creating the elevation, you're creating the section, and you're creating the 3D. So I'm going to come to the elevation view. This is the east elevation. I'm looking at it, and I want to say, okay, what is the height of my, this is a construction template. So you already have a lot set up. If it's going to the basement, you can delete the levels that you don't need. But this is from level 1. Height from level 1 to level 2 is 10 feet. Height from level 2 to roof is 20 feet. And this is fine. Assuming it's going above this level, you can create another level. I can come here and I can zoom in region. And I go to the area where you have levels. You go to architecture, you go to level, and I create another level above here. Yeah, and so this is how you create level. And the same way with create, when you create the level, you can easily modify the distance. I can stretch this up, and I can come in here, and I can modify the distance. This is 10 feet, 20 feet, and I want this to be 30. So I'm going to go in here, and I will change it to 30 feet, and you can rename. Yeah, so this is roof. Now I want it to be level 3, so I'm going to call it level 3. And then this is, yes, I want to rename the corresponding roofs. And this is, and I want to rename this to roof. So now I have, yes, I want to rename the corresponding level. So now I have created a new level called roof, and depending on the drawing, the plan, and where you want the column to reach, you can extend it. Like this is going from level 1 to level 2. So if I want to change it, I can make it to go from level 1 instead of stopping at that level to go to the roof, and you can see that it's going up. So the same thing from here, and I can change it to go to the roof. So it depends on your design and how far it's going. So the same way you can see the elevations, you can also do view and see your 3D view, 3D view before 3D view. So this is the beauty of Revit. As you are doing your drawing in plan, you are seeing the elevation, you are seeing the 3D. So we have put in the column, some of the columns, and we have set up our levels. So I'm going to start putting in some walls. So we come here and we say architecture. So we come to architecture and wall. So when you say wall architecture, right inside here, you select which wall you want. So you can see generic 8-inch, 8-inch, 12-inch. You can see different types of wall. And the good thing about this is, and this is exterior brick over CMU. The good thing about this is that you can edit the thickness of your wall if this is not the wall that you want. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is the wall. And I zoom in. I want a thicker wall. I'm going to come in closer. And I'm going to say, okay, go into the properties and say edit type. And then so when you edit type structure, you can edit it and you can increase the 9-inch. You can increase it to 9-inch wall if that is what you want. But it's better to duplicate before you change. And then you can also change the material for the wall. But right now, we're just gonna use this 8-inch wall. And I'm gonna introduce another wall here, architecture, and then go and I introduce another one coming down this area. So we draw all our exterior walls. Make sure you're drawing it in the correct place. So we're going to come here. You can zoom in closer if it's difficult to see. I have one more here. You can always move it after you have created it. You can use the move, the copy. You can use most of the commands that you use in AutoCAD. You also use them in Revit. So I'll come in here and I'm going to put in another wall here. And I'm going to put in another exterior wall here. So once I can drag it in. It's easy, it's very easy to modify your drawings when you're using Revit. So once I have finished with these, I'm going to put in my interior walls. So I'll come here and I go to architecture, wall, and then select the kind of wall. So we're going to use interior 4 by 7, 18 partition on our wall. So put in another wall here. Then we have an interior wall coming this way. And then we have another interior wall coming this way. You can see how it's so easy to see your dimensions while you're drawing. That is the beauty of Revit. It's easy to modify your dimensions and it's easy to see what you're drawing. And you know exactly what you are using. So your materials, you can specify your materials easily. And so we have another wall here. So now you can see we've put in most of our interior walls and you can look at what you're drawing in 3D. So you go in here and you view and you see this is your default the fourth 3D view. So you can see here that these walls just get up to the first level. So depending on how you want your walls to be, you might want them to go up to level 2 or level 3. So I'm going to select this and say, okay, in my properties panel, from where, so the base constraint is level 1, and then you want to say top constraint, what does it go up to? And you see you can take it up to level 3 or up to roof, and you can see how it moved up immediately. So the same thing you can, so the top constraint determines the height of your wall. So as it's just like as if you're building a house and you know where your walls is going to. So that is what makes Revit to be building information modeling. You have your data, you have your materials, you have everything at the same time. So as you're building these walls, you can go into them, you can edit the type, you can select, edit the structure, and then you can select what material you're using for the wall. So if you go in here, when you're editing by structure, so you can go by category and select the materials, and there's several materials that are available in Revit, and so you go in and you select which material that you want, if you want to have concrete or if you want to have let's see what else we have here, or if it's wood stand, or you can select whatever material you want to use for your wall. So this, I'm just going to put concrete masonry units and say, okay. So that is the beauty of Revit. You have the information, you have the material, you have the thickness, and you know exactly what you're using at site to build your house. And so we can go back to plan. So let me make this up to level 3 too. Top constraint, and I'll say up to level 3. So you can go back to your plan and you're going to see your plan as it is. So we have learned in this lesson how to add columns, how to add levels, and how to set up walls in Revit. This is the first thing that you do when you're starting your Revit drawing, and I hope you'll enjoy this series in understanding Revit. Thank you.